Well, hello and welcome to a new year. This is the third installment of the Sarasota, Florida Writers Group. And on this one, and I'm really glad you're here, we're going to look at the beginnings, stepping into finding a literary agent and the steps that are needed to submit work for consideration to land that agent. As promised in the last post, I am doing traditional publishing. I'm pursuing that. I do want to reach the widest audience I can. And I think that is a really good fit for me. If you're interested in self publishing or hybrid publishing, please go ahead and look at my post from a couple of weeks ago. That's my second post, and that will give you some tips that were shared with me, and I'm glad to share them on as well too. And I know that traditional publishing may take a while, so this may be, segments of how to do this and how to actually succeed. So here we go. We're going to start the journey. We're in a new year, so this is fantastic. A great time to do this. Over the last few weeks, I've been revising my novel. And as you probably know, revising and editing are two different things. They really go hand in hand, kind of like cousins or sisters. But the revising of a novel is really revisiting or re-envisioning the novel. It dives in deeper into the characters, fleshing them out from a two-dimensional to a three-dimensional process. And colors come through, the sounds and the smells are enhanced. And it really draws, as a writer, it draws me in more. So it's been really fabulous to do this. It also brings in elements that I might be introducing later. And I go, well, maybe I should bring that in earlier and these kinds of things. So, and symbolism and foreshadowing, we can kind of flesh those out in an earlier process too. So it is very exciting to hone this revision process and keep doing it. But I got to tell you, it is hard. It is hard. It feels like it'll be never ending. I feel like, if I was painting a picture, it would be something that I would never stop. Or writing a poem, this is the kind of time when you finally have to step back and say, okay, I'm done with that. I'm ready to submit it. So I'm not there yet. I'm in the third revision of my first 50 pages. And this is kind of a goal to do the first 50 pages in a very polished sense while I'm continuing to understand what's happening later on. But the characters are really now speaking to me and driving things as well as the whole conflict and everything that's happening in the story and the crisis that is to come too. I also understand that in my researching of what literary agents would like, having a really good 50-page polished draft to send is really very important too. So while I'm revising, I'm also scouting literary agents, and I'm primarily using two online databases. One is called Query Tracker. That's all one word, query, like question tracker. And it's at querytracker.net. And then I'm also using Manuscript Wishlist too, and that's at www.manuscriptwishlist.com. Both are free to use, but it doesn't end there. That's just a starting point. I'm also I'm a librarian, so I do a lot of reading, and I scout out different books that will help with landing an agent, writing a query letter, even considerations of using AI and things like that for this process too. And I think that Writer's Digest has a lot of good, valuable books, and some of the older ones are available at the library. There's a lot of online information too. Of course, Stephen King's On Writing is a Bible to me that I go back to again and again for inspiration as well as for relevant information for where I am. Um, and it's really important to join in writers groups and to network in person or virtually, like we're doing here. So, what I would like to do is join a couple of other writers groups. I just joined one recently that I've been on their mailing list. That's the Sarasota Writers Group. And so I give a shout out to them too, because they are great. They offer a lot of really good support and excellent information. They have a short story contest and things like that to help newly established or just getting to be established writers, as well as those that have been published already too. Um, it's really, I think, writing is especially if you are looking at wanting to get your work out to as many people as possible, it makes you a little vulnerable. And I find that in sending all this out or to expose myself to maybe a writer's group again, because I've done that in the past too, is a risk. It's hard to do. So here's another hard thing to do, but a good thing to start the new year off too. But in this way, I'm getting to know my fellow writers locally too. And really, I have a lot to gain from the wisdom that I know is all around me in Sarasota County, Port Charlotte area, up in Venice, up in Sarasota, and beyond. And I also feel really absolutely grateful for the willingness of other writers to share what they've learned and the tips and tricks along the way too. We can't do this alone. We have to have some help too. So finding an agent feels like, in the library world, I would go to library conventions, and the national one was very big, and usually in the big cities, and so I went to many library conferences, and this kind of feels like that in a metaphorical way. To imagine like many tables and booths and displays and products, and people all want to talk to you, and people also want to be heard by people, at those tables and booths. People want to meet each other, so there's a lot of people. You can barely move sometimes, and without running into somebody, too. So it's jam packed, too. And it's packed with people that are just like you and me, who are wanting to be heard and wanting to be seen, and to know how to do that, how to step into the door too. So imagine, everybody talking, getting noticed, making their pitch, too, can feel kind of chaotic too. So, but for me, it's time to get into that world, definitely, even though it can feel a little bit overwhelming at times. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to be here to motivate you as well. So, in finding an agent, I've broken it down a bit, and I've been taking advice from knowledgeable writers. Especially, there is one locally, Ryan G. Van Cleve. He wrote a book, and I think I have it here. The Weekend Book Proposal. Oh, yeah, the Weekend Book Proposal book. Uh, and I find this very good. Some of the stuff that I have drawn from, I'm going to tell you, are like these 10 steps that I want to share with you, because I think that these 10 steps are a really good way to take baby steps to get finding that literary agent. So, in a nutshell, get the book if you want to know more exact details about each of these steps. But here are the steps. The first one is, find a catchy title for your book. It seems obvious, but it really is an important thing. I had a working title. I knew it wasn't going to be the title. And even though my son said he liked the title, it was had nothing to do with the book, and it was more where I was at the time and things that were going on in my life. So find a catchy title. And as Van Cleef says, it really should be brief. He did say, or others have said, try to keep it to 3 to 5 words, maybe 6 words at the most. Don't count the or an or too. And you want it to be about what it is, like keywords about what it is that your book is about, but be intriguing enough to stem that curiosity. So I think I've landed on a title. And what is it? You want to know? Okay, no, I'm not going to tell you. Not yet. I want to get an agent first. And then once I get an agent, I promise I will reveal my working title to you. According to Van Cleef and others, 60% of the time, your title is going to change anyway. So it's likely that it won't be the one that ends up once it's published. It will be just my working title, but it works for me. Haha. So there you go. Okay, number 2, write a brief book description. Okay, so I have a draft of that. That's pretty good. And explore, number 3, is explore the marketplace. So basically what that is thinking about your audience and who's going to read that book of yours. Who would you market to? And that's a very important thing to tell your literary agent in this proposal that you'll be sending to them. You want to develop a list of competing books as well. So, based on the genre or genres that you have. And it's good to go on the literary agents sites to see their listing of genres and what they're interested in, of course, and to match yours up with them as well. But I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6 competing books. There's a really good database, online called Novelist Plus that libraries often have available that will give you, if you like this, then you can like that. Goodreads is another really good, in the library world, we would call this reader's advisory. And if you like this author, here's an author read-alike, or if you like this kind of book, here's a read-alike for this title too. Number 5 is maybe come up with some marketing or promotional ideas. And I'm kind of vague on this one. I haven't really done that. I kind of fall back on the usual, like, oh, yeah, of course I would, go to bookstores and libraries and promote, and do workshops. I do have a good network of people as well. So I could do those kinds of things. I think that would be also driven by my agent, but I definitely will let them know I'm willing to do whatever it takes to promote my book and get their feedback on that too, because I want it to succeed just like they do. They would want it to succeed. And also write up my resume that's specialized in what writing I've done in the past, what I've published. The stuff that I personally have published has been a long time ago, since I was so involved in my home life with my kids and my career as a librarian. So I have not pursued fiction publishing or poetry publishing for a long, long time too, though I've been an avid writer all these years. I just can't stop that. And I'm sure that's how you feel too. You just can't stop. You're going to make it go somewhere. I knew this day would come and kept healthy so that once I could let go of my 9-to-5 job, I was able to pursue a writing job of this type too, and treat it that seriously. But I also want to show my credentials. I think that's a kind of an important thing on a resume of that type too, because they don't know who I am. So, having social media, any awards, and degrees and so on. What is your background? Let them get to know me. I think hobbies and things like that too are kind of fun to share with people. Um, now, 7 and 8 are kind of together in my head. Making a table of contents list, that's pretty easy too, because I've already drafted out the whole book one. I have a book two started already. So I'm going to turn that table of contents into chapter summaries too, because I think the literary agents are interested in knowing what the plan is. How does this evolve too, and give them a good idea. And because they're in the business of making money, and it's just that's the way it is. And so now I'm ready to take that side of writing on too. Get a manuscript sample ready and get it shining and all polished. So that's what I've been working on. Stephen King, I think he said he always revises at least 3 times. And I can see why. You really need to do that. Revise, revise, revise. So I'm doing that now. And then the last thing is probably the thing I'm the weakest on, and that is to get some endorsements if possible. So I'll be pursuing that as well. I am involved in other things other than writing, of course. So just like everybody, you have other interests too. So I think maybe through those connections, I might be able to get some endorsements that are valuable to me. Too, because I like to hear from anybody about my work, as well as those who are professional. So far, what I've discovered is that this phase of revising and finding an agent is going to take longer, really much longer than I had first anticipated when I was thinking about this a year ago or more, and diving into it and doing all the research on it. Someone once told me that it took her 2 or 3 years to find an agent. And she said she was working at finding an agent a few hours every day, every weekday to like a job. And that's how I've been treating this as well. Every time that I look on Query Tracker, for example, and find maybe a list of 5 people that might work, and then I go to their website and start looking at their interests. The majority of them, the queries are closed. So you have to really spend a lot of time going back and forth and searching and keeping everything organized. I do recommend having like an Excel spreadsheet or a way to track things for yourself so you don't keep repeating anything, because there are a lot of agents out there. And I've also found that agents are funny in that they might be at one place for a short time and then they're at another place. So, or they're gone, or maybe they started their own. So, make sure you do your research and your homework on the person that you're trying to track down to, once you get kind of excited about a person, which, that can happen pretty easily. It's almost like interviewing somebody for a job, the job of your book and yourself. So, and I really like that. It's a partnership in this. I want them to invest in me, and I'm also going to be investing in them too, my time. So I'm not going to give up. This is going to take a while, and sometimes I have to take a deep breath and get started, doing the revising, and Word does a lot of the editing for me, so that makes it kind of easy for that part. But doing the revising, and then also I'm doing some editing too, but getting things all ready for that package and finding that agent too. And in the next few posts, I think I'll let you know how it's going, the progress. Hopefully there will be progress. We'll find out too. And I'm really going to do whatever it takes to make it happen too. So I hope you feel my enthusiasm and motivation, and know that this is extended to you and in my support for your work and your journey too. Um, on my next post, I'll give you an update on finding an agent and how I'm doing with that list too. And until next time, you keep writing. Now, if you want to join the Southwest Florida Writers Group, please go ahead and leave a comment, and I promise I'll get back to you. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.